Here with Damien Shanklin at Warren Central, and Damien ranked number one in the state in your graduating class by most. I think Mark Zachary's up there too, but I think you got him on most of the publications, right?
Yes, sir.
Not that that really matters a whole lot, but we talked about you're kind of rising in a lot of these recruiting rankings and things. I mean, I don't know how much you pay attention to that stuff, but what does that say maybe about you and kind of how you're progressing as a player, do you think?
With me just seeing all of that, the number one player in Indiana and stuff like that, I just try to keep that same level of being humble and just also keeping that position, that number one position. So, yeah.
Well, Damien's got a lot of good college opportunities out there. I know you've got some big goals for this season. And some obviously some things to do on the recruiting front. What do you have planned? What are your official visits looking like right now?
I know May 31st I'm going to LSU. June 7th I'm going to Ohio State. June 14th I'm going to Tennessee. And then June 21st I'm attending Alabama.
So kind of a who's who list you've got there. I mean, at this point in the recruiting process, I know you know these schools pretty well, obviously. What are you kind of looking for right now from these schools that are interested in you and that you'll be visiting?
Just building a bond with the coaches, and on top of that, just the past, the tradition, and just see what's going on and like with the atmosphere and stuff like that. So just being there, make sure I see every little detail that I can see. Just make sure I see myself being there.
We were talking before we started recording. I know you're known as a defensive end. Yeah, you're out there kicking, punting. I don't even know how you. So I guess you just you were kicking after practice one time, and they said, "Hey,
yes,
you're a punter now." Is that how that worked?
Yes, sir. Definitely. That I don't know. It's just a hard way to explain, but just had to do what I had to do just because I know Elijah Slyback, he was gonna leave once. He ended up committing stuff to Virginia, and then on top of that, I was long snapping while he was doing that. But we also had Ola Neely, so it's just like I just find somewhere else I can be at besides just playing defensive end. So just wanted to be a versatile player. So.
Your defensive line at Warren Central, very good. Obviously, you're going to have, I think, a pretty good season up front. I would think. How do you kind of rate that position group? And where do you guys think you can improve? Going into this year on the line.
Yeah, like I said before, I feel like we one of the best defensive lines in the country, and then on top of that, I just feel like we can improve by just helping our young guys improve and stuff like that. Just because me, JJ, and Tyrone, like we've been on the defensive line for a long time, and we already know like the memo and stuff like that. So we just want to be able to get the young cats in the game and stuff like that. So just ball out.
You obviously put up some really good numbers last year. Have you kind of set some goals for yourself or what you'd like to accomplish this year? And even if it's not numerical, what would you like to do individually and team-wise?
I really wouldn't say I set goals, but like for stats, I know I just want to get the tackle for loss record because I was real close last year. I missed it by one tackle for loss due to JJ. And then on top of that, Coach K popped in. But
there he is, Coach Kirshner. We're recording real quick here. So.
Oh, okay. If he hasn't mentioned he has the greatest coach in America, delete the whole video. Just saying. But thank you. I'm heading out for agilities on the field.
Okay.
Thanks.
But yeah, like I was saying before he walked in, I feel like we got one of the best defensive lines in the country. I feel like I can get the TFL record set at the school. And just with the D-line we got and just everybody coming to practice, I feel like everybody can play. And then on top of that, just not talking about the D-line, but the team as an overall team standpoint, I just feel like we're going to be good in the future. So.
And I know that's it's a tradition at Warren Central. Obviously, the football tradition. We were talking before. Interesting. You really followed that 2018 team pretty closely. One of the more dominant teams I've covered in my time.
Yes,
long time doing this. And Ramir Elliott and David Bell. You said you remember watching. What do you remember about that season the most?
Really, I would say the Trinity game when they played in Kentucky. I know I can't remember how many seconds it was, but D. Bell scored on I think it was a slant, and then Ramir he had a real long run. Then later on in the season, I would say the Lucas Oil game when they played Carmel. That was probably the best game I ever watched. Just seeing how they was getting after it and just all like the bond that they had and just me talking about it as a youngin or whatever, it just just talking about that, I could just see me doing it my senior year. And not only my senior year, I seen it in the previous years too, but we just wasn't able to push it through all the way. So.
People talk about, pride in program. I mean, is that kind of what, built it in you, I guess, is it made you kind of at that age
Yes, sir.
want to be part of this program?
Yes, sir, definitely. Just having that, when I first came in, just having that chip on my shoulder and just hearing everybody say pride of the East Side, it really means something. It's a tradition. Like, you will see it everywhere you go in the school, honestly. Like, it's just always been that type of, how do they say, slogan. Like, it's always been that type of slogan. So just being around that, I enjoy it. I wouldn't say I want to, like, forget about none of it. I'm just remember it my whole life.
Looking back to what would you tell that kid back who 11, 12 years old that maybe now that's that you've learned about yourself or learned about going through this process?
Honestly, I thought that kid was just going to just play football. I didn't know I was going to be doing all of this stuff. But I would just go back and tell him to just stay motivated, stay humble, and just make sure you're hanging around the right people and stuff like that. So.
And it sounds like you've done that pretty well. I mean, do you feel have you kind of do you lean? Is there a lot of people you lean on throughout this process to get advice or, what should I do here? What do you think about this? Who's kind of in that group for you?
Majority of the time, not even majority of the time, all the time, I depend on coaches, Miss Bush and Miss Lindenberg, teammates like Keith Jordan, Kyron, and them. Just being around them and just with things changing with us growing up and stuff like that, I just feel like them the people I can go to and talk to because I'm more comfortable. So I feel like that helps me a lot with everything.
And having these coaches come in and going on visits, has that maybe helped you just kind of interact with people, get to know, maybe grow up a little faster because you're doing all that?
Yes, sir, definitely. I would just say just talking to everybody. That's a part of growing up, but also on top of that, just talking to all these coaches and stuff, it just mature most people. So just talking to them and just seeing everything that's coming my way, it just make me want to be a better person each and every day. So even when it's a time where I feel like I don't want to do something, I know I got to do it. So.
And as you go through, again, talking to Damien Shanklin, Warren Central defensive end, coming up on some important part of your recruitment here with some visits. Anything in particular, as you go to these schools that, and I don't know, have you been to all these that you're going to on official visits yet, or are these new places?
I've been to all of them.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you're kind of looking for that's maybe common across all of them?
I know when I go back, of course, I just want to make sure I'm treated the right way, just seeing how the coaches being with me. Then also I just want to get around the players and see how they also treat each other. Then on top of that, just talk over academics to make sure I'm going to be good with the 3 to 4 years I do in college. So from there, I just feel like just make sure I'm seeing everything and just picking up on everything that I need to know.
Well, great. Well, appreciate Damien Shanklin joining me here today. He's obviously coming up on some important dates in his in college recruitment, and then I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of him this fall during the football season. But thanks a lot, Damien. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Go Warriors.